Here are the top stories for today, the 13th of April 2022. More than half of the country's cities and municipalities are now under the lowest COVID-19 alert level 1 status. Search, rescue, and retrieval operations continue in massive Leyte landslides. Despite the recent weather disturbance, the Agriculture Department assures that there is enough supply of prime agricultural products. And President Rodrigo Duterte awards over 200,000 hectares of land to the indigenous peoples in Caraga. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Metro Manila and more than half of the Philippines are now under the lowest alert level 1 status from April 16 to 30. Malacanang said the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases approved the recommendation on Tuesday as COVID-19 cases in the country remain low. Acting Presidential Spokesperson and Communications Secretary Martin Andanar also announced the cities and provinces that will be under Alert Level 1 from April 16 until the end of the month. In total, 54% or 887 of 1,634 total cities and municipalities are under Alert Level 1. Meanwhile, several more cities will be placed under Alert Level 2 from April 16 to 20. The Philippines recorded 1,906 new COVID-19 cases from April 4 to 10, which is 29% lower than the data registered last week. Tropical Depression Agathon has displaced more than 34,000 affected residents. Latest report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, shows that at least 43 individuals perished due to the weather disturbance. Of the number, 37 are in Leyte, 3 were drowned in Region 7, 3 were also drowned in Region 11, while 7 are still missing. NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal said they are still validating and updating their data. He also said that search and retrieval operations continue in landslide areas, particularly in Abuyog and Baybay, Leyte. Timbal also said the distribution of relief aid for the affected residents.
Kaya po iba yung pag-iingat po ang ating pinapaalala sa mga kababayan natin. Kayo po ay magpatuloy na sumunod at makipag-ugnayan sa ating mga local government units para sa mga gawaing pangkaligtasan. Yung mga nasa evacuation centers po, makakaasa po kayo na tuloy ang assistance ng pamahalaan. Ang paalala po natin sa inyo ay ipagpatuloy ninyo po yung pagtalima sa ating COVID-19 health protocols. Pag meron po kayong nararamdamang sakit, ipaalam po ninyo ito sa camp managers natin dahil may umiikot po ang ating community health officers sa munisipyo at city para mapangalagaan po tayo laban sa sakit, lalo na sa COVID-19.
Meanwhile, the operations of seaports that were ordered closed because of Agathon have resumed. These include the ports in the Sorsogon to Samar, the Leyte to Surigao nautical highways, as well as ports in central Visayas. Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson Commodore Arman Balillo said search and rescue operations continue in the Baybay, Leyte, and landslides and in other flooded areas. More Coast Guard personnel are also deployed to ensure orderly and safe inter-island sea travels during and after the Holy Week.
Yung mga kababayan po natin magta-travel, mainam pa rin po na dalhin yung mga vaccine card at mag-coordinate doon sa mga LGUs na pupuntahan ninyo. At palagi pa rin pong mag-consult sapagkat may nakamba pa rin pong sama ng panahon para lang po sigurado tayo na kung lilihis itong bagyo ay tayo po ay nakahanda. At gayon din po sa pagdadala ng mga gamit na hindi po pinapahintulutan sa mga terminals at sa mga barko katulad po ng matutulis na bagay, mga maaari pong sumabog na likido at mga hazardous na materials at yun nga po yung mga dapat na mga i-declare na mga kargamento.
The Department of Agriculture assures the public that the country's food supply remains sufficient, particularly prime agricultural products such as rice, vegetables, chicken, and fish. DA Undersecretary Ariel Kayanan said they have secured a 3-month-long buffer stock following record-breaking harvests at the end of the first quarter. Production of lowland-level vegetables or pinakbet vegetables are now 150% sufficient, while highland vegetables reached at 158% sufficiency. He also noted that the demand for vegetables and fish might increase during this Lenten season. Kayanan expects a 90-day buffer in the second quarter based on the outlook with arriving imports, followed by at least 60 days of supply while preparing for the wet season, and 87 days or 3 months inventory in the last quarter. Meanwhile, Kayanan said they have been pleading to exempt aid subsidies for farmers and fisher folk from the spending ban of the Commission on Elections. He said partisan action should be definitely waived, but not at the expense of the farmers. COMELEC Commissioner Socorro Inting has resigned as head of the poll body's gun ban committee. Inting, a former Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, said her decision is a form of protest. Inting resigned the day after the COMELEC Unbank voted to give power to COMELEC Chairman Saidamin Pangarungan to grant election gun ban exemptions and place areas of concern under COMELEC control. 4 members of the 7-man panel voted in favor of the amendments. On Monday, Pangarungan announced that the poll body has automatically granted an exemption to top government officials from the gun ban. An investigation is underway regarding the pre-shaded ballots being handed to a voter in Singapore. Commissioner George Garcia confirmed that they have received a confirmation of the incident late Monday afternoon. He said the incident should not have happened as it would generate doubt on the integrity of the May 9 polls. The Philippine Embassy in Singapore issued a statement confirming that one spoiled ballot was inadvertently and unintentionally given to a voter, stressing that it was just an isolated incident. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte warns the public against voting for party lists who allegedly serve as legal fronts of the Communist Party of the Philippines. He says the group that he called Kabag only saw hatred against the government with no valid reason. Kabag stands for Kabataan, Anak Pawis, Bayan Muna, Alliance of Concerned Teachers, and Gabriela. He said he might be compelled to support a presidential aspirant should there be a supposed coalition between the 2022 election hopefuls and the communist group. Still ahead, President Rodrigo Duterte condemns Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and over 300,000 passengers take the newly returned Libreng Sakay. We're back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly changed our lives for the worse. Lives and jobs were lost and economies reached a meltdown. Thanks to the arrival of safe and effective vaccines, we are one step closer to normalcy. It's time to do our part, get vaccinated for our safety and for our recovery.
You are there in that community, go there and have yourself vaccinated by any of the vaccines available. They are all potent, they are all effective.
I would like to appeal to all our kababayans, please get vaccinated against COVID-19 and be the government partner in preventing further spread of the disease. I encourage you to get vaccinated as soon as possible time. These vaccines are safe and they are the key to reopening our society. The need for international solidarity and cooperation cannot be made clearer than this pandemic, because everyone is safe. No one is safe globally until everybody is safe.
Vaccines work. President Rodrigo Duterte says Russia's unprovoked military invasion of Ukraine deserves condemnation. Despite being friends with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Duterte said Russia's attacks on Ukraine were brutal. In a speech in Butuan City, Duterte acknowledged how both he and Russian President Vladimir Putin are facing cases before the International Criminal Court. But he reiterated that he was different from Putin because he only allowed the killing of criminals while Putin authorized bombings of the children and the elderly. He also justified the drug war killings, saying these were done in the context of self-defense.
Nagpapatay ako ng tao, pero ang pinapatay ko kriminal. Hindi ako nagpapatay na bumubumba ng bata, matanda. Yung aking kaso sa ICC magkaiba. Ako, kriminal ang pinatay ko. Eh yung gera nila doon, it's so brutal.
More areas in the country has posted a high number of COVID-19 vaccination rate. In the latest tally of the Department of Health, over 23 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in Metro Manila, followed by the Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR with over 2 million doses. Other regions with high vaccination rates include Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, and the Bicol region. In Caraga region, 81.7% of the target senior citizens have been vaccinated against COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Bangsamoro region in Muslim Mindanao is still lagging with only 27.31% vaccination rate. President Rodrigo Duterte led the awarding of certificates of ancestral domain titles or CADTs to various indigenous peoples communities in the Caraga region. The titles cover a land area of 209,000 hectares located in Agusan del Sur, Agusan del Norte, and Surigao del Norte. In a statement, the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples in Region 13 said 12 CADTs were formally approved and recognized in Caraga inside the term of President Duterte. Datu Randy Catarman, leader of a domain in the Agusan del Norte towns of Jabonga and Quicharao, thanked Duterte for his concern for the tribal communities in the region. Catarman said they started applying for a tribal domain title for an area comprising 5 IP communities in Jabonga, Quicharao, and Mainit towns as early as 2006. The IPRA law describes the CADTs as the backbones of the IP communities in the country. More than 300,000 commuters availed of the Libreng Sakay program when it resumed on Monday at the EDSA busway carousel and other participating routes nationwide. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, said the service contracting program was restarted for the third time to help operators and drivers affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and the continued rise in fuel prices. Participating operators and drivers would receive payouts from the government through the program. Operators will also receive a one-time incentive of 5,000 pesos. With a budget of 7 billion pesos, the program will run from March to December this year or until all funds are exhausted. Moving on to business, government expenditures and recovery of the private sector are seen to help drive the Philippine economy to grow by 6.5% this year. ASEAN +3 Macroeconomic Research Office Chief Economist Dr. Ho E. Kor said that the growth outlook considered the impact of the additional COVID-19 variants on the economy. Kor said the domestic economy continues to have a large output gap since it has yet to fully recover from the pandemic. He said that due to the large output gap, private spending will likely bounce back very rapidly once the economy opens fully. He also said the 6.5% projection may extend until 2023. The surveillance organization's growth projection for the economy is lower than the government's 7% to 9% growth assumption, while its 2023 forecast is within the economic manager's 6% to 7% target. More stories from the newsroom. Balik Probinsya beneficiaries get chances to learn livelihood skills. And Intramuros opens its churches and chapels to visitors this Holy Week. Details ahead. Stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Commander Duterte Campo po ng Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary para sa kumpanyang Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Bakit natin kailangan magpabakuna laban sa COVID-19? Dahil mahal mo ang iyong sarili, pamilya at bayan. Ang bakuna ang tiyak na paraan para tuluyang mapigilan ang pagkalat ng virus. May mga patunay na mababa ang porsyento ng pagkalat ng COVID-19 sa mga nabakunahan na. At matapos mabakunahan, malaki na ang tsansa na makabalik ka sa normal mong pamumuhay. Kaya tulad ko magparehistro na at magpabakuna na kontra COVID-19. Muli po, ako si Commander Duterte Campo, Disiplina Muna Ambassador. Nagpapaalala, huwag matakot magpabakuna dahil bida ang may disiplina. Magparehistro tayo at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, now offers scholarships or vocational courses to applicants of the government's Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa or BP2 program. Qualified BP2 beneficiaries can enroll in courses such as ship's catering service, cookery, massage therapy, and shielded metal arc welding, among others. These programs can be availed as long as they are offered by the TESDA technology institutions or technical vocational institutions in their areas. Beneficiaries can likewise avail of livelihood starter kits from the Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Labor and Employment, and the Department of Agriculture. 2 minor combatants and 49 supporters and couriers of the Dawla Islamia Maute group surrendered to the government troops in Lanao del Sur. The ISIS-inspired rebels surrendered on Monday at the headquarters of the Army's 51st Infantry Battalion in the Lanao del Sur town of Piapagapo. Brigadier General Jose Maria Cuerpo II, the Army's 103rd Infantry Brigade commander, said the mass surrender was brought by intensified combat operations and the support from the local government unit and the people. He said they will watch over the miners as they reintegrate into mainstream society. Last month, government troops overran the camp of Faharuddin Haji Sattar, alias Abu Zakaria, the self-declared emir of the ISIS in Southeast Asia, in Barangay Ilaglag, Maguing, Lanao del Sur. The Department of Health reports an increase in dengue cases in parts of Zamboanga Peninsula, Cagayan Valley, Western Visayas, and Davao. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres cited the outbreak in Zamboanga City, which was declared last week after the number of cases exceeded the epidemic threshold. She pointed to frequent rains as the cause of the spread of dengue. Nevertheless, Vergeres said the weekly reported cases in 2022 were still significantly lower than the cases reported nationally in 2021. To assist dengue patients, the DOH has activated the fast lanes in hospitals, pre-positioned logistics for anti-dengue needs, and advised local government units about the 4S strategy. The 4S strategy refers to search and destroy mosquito breeding sites, self-protection measures, seek early consultation of symptoms, and support spraying or fogging to prevent further outbreaks. For the first time in 2 years, Intramuros is opening its 8 churches and chapels to Catholics for the Visita Iglesia this Holy Week. The Maundy, Thursday, and Good Friday, Catholic devotees may visit the Manila Cathedral, San Agustin Church, and other churches and chapels inside the walled city. Intramuros Administration Chief Guillermo Acido said stakeholders have prepared for the influx of visiting devotees and tourists for the safe observance of the Lenten season inside Intramuros. Acido also shared that the Via Crucis or Stations of the Cross installations would be displayed at the stretch of General Luna Street from Beaterio Street to Muralla. To facilitate traffic, General Luna Street will be closed to all vehicles from the night of Holy Wednesday until Good Friday. Residents of a remote village in Lanao del Sur availed of medical services and relief aid courtesy of the local government and security forces. Claire Gighe has the story.
Hundreds of residents in a remote village in Lanao del Sur province benefited from a government's convergence outreach program held in the municipality of Piagapo. The outreach program in Barangay Kalungunan is a collaborative effort wherein the local government of Piagapo, through its Rural Health Unit, the Army's 51st Infantry Battalion, and the Philippine National Police extended various services to provide for the basic needs of the village residents. During the event, 200 food packs and hygiene kits were distributed at the covered court of the barangay. 145 residents, including senior citizens, lactating mothers, and newborn kids, were also aided with free medical consultation and medicines. On the other hand, 68 kids received toys and bags with school supplies and enjoyed a feeding program, while 25 individuals availed of the free haircut and 35 of the Operation Tuli or circumcision. Routine immunization for children and vaccination against COVID-19 were also part of the services offered.
Naging aminita lang yung mga Amerikano, nag-iiso outreach program, ipmugay atas tangguan ang mga local government unit. Why? So mga programa, din yung naiman na ninakap so hindi ron sa local government unit, naiman to na inuit Amerikano.
The Vice Mayor also introduced to the village folks the Alternative Learning System or ALS, which is currently implemented by the 51st IB in Barangay Gakap, also in Piagapo, stressing the importance of literacy in sustaining peace in the municipality. He said they plan to replicate the ALS program in Kalungunan village. The community outreach program was likewise highlighted by a peace dialogue between the residents, LGU, and security forces to prevent violent extremism and monitor infrastructure projects in the community. Residents of the village were then thankful for the various services brought by the government to their village through the LGU and the 51st Infantry Battalion.
Kenalamatan namin sirang kami, ako masirang si kama mapiara ako meron si. Nah, semua sa barat so kay na kanami na kuko kami sumangat ana kuko nila sumangat sa ilan kaya.
For PNA Newsroom, Claire Gighe of the Philippine Information Agency, Lanao del Sur.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. More than half of the country's cities and municipalities are now under the lowest COVID-19 alert level 1 status. Search, rescue, and retrieval operations continue in massive Leyte landslides. Despite the recent weather disturbance, the Agriculture Department assures that there is enough supply of prime agricultural products. And President Rodrigo Duterte awards over 200,000 hectares of land to the indigenous peoples in Caraga. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies, Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.